It's a wacky Wednesday here on Disruption Network. You can follow along on YouTube. You can follow along on Facebook. And you can follow along on Twitch. If you could do us a favor, share on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Smash that like button. All that social media lingo that I'm still trying to get a grips on. I don't really understand some of it, but I look like I know what I'm doing. Anyway, shout out to the sponsors. I got to give some love to my boy Eddie Alsheimer over at EJA Moving Services. Give him a call today when you're ready to move and relocate. You can hit him up at 315-335-0516. There's no task they can't handle. And let them do all the work for you. When you're stressed out about moving, don't be, because Eddie's got you. EJAmoving.com. You can find him online. Shout out to our friends over at Joey's at 307. You want a delicious meal this week? Give them a call today at 315-864-3527. Grabski's doing it up big. They also offer catering. They've got booze down there now. They've got great seafood dinners, a revolving dinner menu. It's absolutely awesome down there. Go get yourself some great food over at Joey's at 307. It's 307 Mohawk Street. Shout out to Utica Coffee. My attorney, Dave Longaretta, has been keeping me out of trouble since the early 90s. Shout out to Saranac Brewery. Ballsy, ballwash.com. Use promo code members only and get yourself some nut rub. And also, I got to give a shout out to my boys from Sophistafunk. Sophistafunk and Friends coming to the Stanley Theater Saturday, February 18th, featuring Mike Ganser from Aqueous, Sam Kinninger, Joe Driscoll, Lo Wurtzer from Lucid. We got some horns coming in. It's going to be a spectacular show. You can get tickets at the Stanley's website, thestanleytheater.org. Joining me today, we've got some friends in the house today. Mike Zalocha's in the house. Darryl Hogan. Gentlemen, how are you? Good to see you guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Mike, first off, thanks for the cannolis. Mike got me some cannolis. I love a guest that brings me food. You know that.
See, before we go any further, now the ball wash, is that good for swamp ass? I'm asking for a friend.
No. You're asking for you, and I'll tell you all about the ball wash. The ball wash is good for the shower.
Sure.
It gets the funk off your junk, if you will, right?
Okay.
But what I recommend is the nut rub, because that prevents the swamp ass.
So I'll Venmo you after the show.
Well, just hit it up. Use our promo code, and you get some nut rub. I'll tell you, nut rub changed my life.
It did.
It did. Because in the summertime...
I see that you're dating.
See, the nut rub helped me... Help me nail down Stephanie.
Hello, Stephanie.
But what the nut rub is, it has a great fragrance. And it doesn't, it's the anti-chafe.
Sure.
It's the anti-sweat, swamp ass, if you will. So in the summertime when I'm working festivals, I'll do a little swoop and a dupe on the inside of my boys, and I am good. And not only that, bro, but there's times where I don't shower like the next day, every day, and it still stays on.
Wow.
It still stays on. It's very, very effective. It smells great. They've got other stuff, other products like Sac Spray, which is like an aerosol spray. And then they have the ball wash, which is like a charcoal base. I mean, you might like that. It really cleans that up. So let me give you the technique. The technique is you take a shower.
Sure.
You use the ball wash.
Okay.
You get them all nice and scrubbed, nice and clean. You towel off, and then do a swoop and a dupe with the nut rub.
With the nut rub.
And I tell you, it's going to change your life. It really is. Ballsy and a ball wash, they have some great products. They really do.
All these things, as we get older, become more important to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's so true, man.
Like I have hair growing out of my ears, my nose, my eyebrows, everywhere except on top of my head. And I just can't figure it out for the life of me.
Well, they have some of that shaving stuff too. You know, like a sack trimmer or whatever.
Yeah, the Manscaped.
The Manscaped type of thing. Have you used any of that?
I got something similar to it. Something similar, but the Manscaped.
I'm still using my old beard trimmer.
Are you?
I take my life in my hands every time.
You can nick yourself pretty good,
pretty
man.
good with those, yep.
Oh yeah.
But I've been using it for so long, it's like fuck it.
The conversation.
It's still working.
we could do a whole podcast on just the products that Ballsy comes out with. It's amazing. Yeah.
Now, are they local or?
No, they're from L.A.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're from L.A.
Okay.
No, we've done a bunch of stuff with them through the Uncle Louie Variety Show.
Sure.
And then through the Disruption Network, of course. But
good stuff.
I'm a huge proponent of ball wash.
Nice.
Yeah,
all right.
It will
That's
change
an endorsement right there. It really is.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So what's up, fellas? Good to see you, Mike. I'm glad we can finally do this. I know we've been talking about this.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Awesome. What's the appropriate time where you could stop saying Happy New Year?
I'll say it all year round because you got the Chinese New Year. I'll say it all year round. If I hadn't seen you, Happy New Year.
What do you think, Mike?
The minute you take down your tree, I think it's you're done.
That's it?
Yeah.
I've been doing
But
it
there's
wrong
some
then.
people that leave their tree up forever, right?
Oh, my God, I
Doesn't
know.
Tiny, she leaves her nutcrackers up till like
No, I don't
March,
think she
right?
leaves them all year-round, does she?
I don't
March.
know. I'll have
I
to
think
ask her.
March. I think right before St. Patty's Day.
Well, it's a lot of work putting them up. Well, she has like the largest
Yeah.
collection of I'm about to say nut rub, but she's got the largest collection of nutcrackers.
Good segue.
But she does. She has the largest collection of nutcrackers, I think, like in the United States or something.
Something like that. Yeah, it's quite interesting in there. She's got a lot of good Yankee memorabilia in there, too.
She does.
Yeah.
Back in the day, that was the hot spot for the minor league hockey team. All those guys used to come through and just get smashed after
Minor league
games.
hockey team.
And the Blue Sox,
baseball
too,
team
right?
came through there.
Well, she
was on the board or something.
She was the general manager of the Blue Sox.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
There's a book out there, Boys of Summer, I think it's called, by Roger Kahn. He wrote a whole book about the 1983 Blue Sox, the year they won the New York Penn League.
Oh, really?
He was with the team from spring training all the way to the end, and he wrote a great book. It's still out there. You can find it on Amazon.
That was in 93, was it?
No, 83.
83. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
How old were we then? 8?
8.
Yeah, I was 8 then.
8.
10.
You were 10?
10,
You got a couple
11?
years on us?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I know me and Mike are 1975, right?
75.
I just turned 50.
Oh, my God.
I know.
See, I
Still
didn't
here.
Barely.
I didn't want to rat you out.
I don't care. I'm proud of it.
All right.
Yeah. Mike, so we were talking before, and like we talked about wanting you to come on the show and shoot the shit. And I'm sure this podcast might piss a few people off.
Well, it's certainly not my intention.
Well, I know we're going to go a little bit down the political rabbit hole, and I tend not to go down that political rabbit hole on a national level, but I will do it on a local level.
I don't want to. I don't even talk about national stuff. I really don't.
But I will talk about it on a local level.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I feel it's important to talk about what's going on.
I'm with you 100% on that.
And this year is huge.
Sure.
With the mayor race, we've got a few candidates that have announced that they're running for mayor. My buddy Mike Leamy.
My buddy, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already shared it on Facebook. I mean, we're all in on him.
Oh, all in.
Yeah.
All in. 100%.
1,000%.
I just think we need some new ideas in the area as a whole, not just Utica.
Yeah.
But you need to start here because it's a hub of the area.
Yeah.
I think he's got it.
You think so?
He's got it. He's got. I mean, just take away the luck.
We're delving right into politics off the get-go.
Yeah, I figure let's get right into it.
Get right into it. I mean, he's vested. He's been in there for 2 terms as Common Council president. He knows what's going on. He knows the ins and outs. And he has the ideas, and I think he's got the depth and the breadth to go forward with this thing. I really do. So
what I love about Mike is, and I've known Mike through the music world.
Sure.
I mean, he was playing my club back in the day.
Oh,
Back
sure.
he played, I mean, for years, he played my mom's 40th birthday party or whatever, 50th birthday. I can't remember, Mom. If you're watching, let me know which one it is. But he played my mom's parties and stuff like that. Like, and so he understands the art and entertainment of things, right? And that's what I am passionate about, as you both know, working at the Stanley, promoting my shows. Thanks, bud. But with Mike being on board, and hopefully he wins this mayor race. Like, he's pro Stanley.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And as am I.
Right, of course. Everybody should be, but I feel like the Stanley gets kind of kicked in dirt a little bit with all these stupid little projects the current administration wants
going around it.
I can't figure that out for the life of me. Why they break your balls? I mean, they wanted to take that parking lot away.
I know, they wanted an apartment building.
To put an apartment building. You can't park down there hardly there on a Stanley night to begin with. And how many spots is it, Z? Is it about?
It's not that big.
It's under 100.
Is it? But still, that's...
it's parking. It's needed.
And you go right into that parking lot, and the sign says the Stanley and Cora and the Lotus Garden. That would have wiped the Lotus Garden out.
Yeah, it would have.
It would have. I mean...
It's a shame. Now, the other thing they wanted to do that we put the kibosh to it, too, they wanted to put a medium in the middle of Genesee Street. How are we supposed to get trucks in there? And I had some guys that work for the city say, I thought that would be a great idea. Well, you're an idiot because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You have zero idea what it takes to put on a show at the Stanley, just like this whole fucking Complete Street thing.
You know what?
Go ahead.
The thing with the Complete Streets is, whatever, okay? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But I do know that there's no snow at the moment.
Right. Great trial run. Great job. And you know what? They're calling it complete streets, but they didn't even complete the whole trial, right? They were supposed to go from where it is now all the way up to like Cottage Street or something like that, right by the roundabout.
Oh, that would have been a real beaut.
Oh, yeah. But they didn't even do any of it. Like, they only did a little bit because, we couldn't get a grinder. And now here comes winter, and we've actually had a real mild winter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's warm today. It's like 40 degrees in January. It's unheard of.
Well, not only it was sneaky, it was underhanded. They didn't ask you your opinion.
They didn't ask anybody their opinion.
They didn't ask anybody their opinion.
Well, they said they asked somebody, didn't they?
They didn't ask anybody. No. They lied.
There's 1,000.
Really? They just lied.
Typical politician.
Lied.
Go ahead. Let them talk.
There's 1,000 people against us. There's maybe 2. And then they'll point to those 2 people and say, see, everybody's for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2.
Because that's the way they operate. And it's not going to change unless we start changing it.
Right. It's ridiculous that they actually think that that's such a good idea. So we had some of those common council people down there to watch what it takes to do a load in. And when we have school events, when we have 40 buses, up and down Genesee Street, dropping the kids off for like the Nutcracker, and all this stuff. And we have, about a handful of those shows where we tap into the schools. Sure. And 30, 40 different schools, 30, 40 different school buses.
It's a lot of buses.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So how are we supposed to maintain that? How are we supposed to do that show if we're down to 3 lanes?
Exactly. And a medium.
And a medium. So I've got a folder of like 90 pictures and videos ready for the Common Council, ready to go, just on how stupid of an idea this is. And then you got the other girl, whatever, the girl that can't handle name calling. She's out there, doing her little diagrams like we're little kids, like, oh, this one makes it a little safer. And like, you're an idiot. Sorry. So you are. You're an idiot. But, it's like you have no idea. Like, all you're doing is your agenda. How much money are you making off this project? I'd really like to know.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's usually the root of it.
Oh, it all is.
As a consumer, going downtown, one of the things I heard, it'll help drive people downtown. Listen, if I'm going through there and I can't get through there, I'm not going to come back.
Mm-hmm. I want to know how many people are actually avoiding Genesee Street because of that. Right. Exactly. I only kind of take it because I have to.
Well, there are times I have to, too.
Right.
Yeah. If I'm coming from my house, like on a Sunday night, and I want to go meet up with my friends at Delmonico's, I mean, that's the route to take.
Yeah. Or go down Cora.
But I got to tell you, when we had that
snow... in Cora. Yeah, we go
Cora.
There.
Well, there's a shout-out. That night that we had the snowstorm, was it November? November we got hit with one, and then December we got hit with. November, it happened on a Sunday night, and I was going to meet my friends at Delmonico's, and the other cars, we didn't know what the hell to do, so we just automatically created 2 lanes again, so. Because you couldn't see the lines on the road.
No.
Yeah. So everybody's conditioned. You couldn't see the lines. You couldn't see anything for that matter. And everybody's conditioned for that being a 4-lane road. Mm-hmm. So the person next to me, I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. I just go.
Yeah, right
to each other. So
living in the city as long as I have, the one thing I know about Uticans, they can't accept change. So how are they going to accept it? It takes a long time.
It takes a while.
Well, I can remember I used to break Dave's balls about when he put the roundabout in Oneida Square. And I said, it's the most horrible idea ever.
How do you feel about it now?
I love it.
I do, too.
He was right, and I told him that. Right. I said, Dave, I'm sorry. You were right. I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm. I love it, too.
I love you. Buy you a drink.
If you remember, that intersection was the most fucked up intersection. It was like a 5-way intersection.
Sure, it was.
Yeah.
And it was so confusing to get around it. Now that roundabout makes the flow of traffic a lot more easier, as well as the one on John Street.
Yeah, that one's a little bit faster. That one's that one you have to be. The Oneida Square one is a little bit slower, and that John Street one's faster. So you got to.
Well, because it's 2 lanes going around.
Well, I get that. Yeah.
It's like the ones I can't call it the base anymore. It's not called the base anymore. It's called something else now.
The Griffiths Air Park or
Technology Park. Yep. All right, those are big roundabouts.
I mean, if you go to Buffalo, there's a ton
and you can go through those. It's not slowing down traffic. What's slowing down the traffic is.
The people not paying attention.
The people not paying attention.
The people that are on their phones around the roundabout. This is my PSA for the day. Is like, people, get off your phones when you're driving. Please stop texting and driving.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. You're going to cause an accident.
My pet peeve is when they blow yield signs.
Yeah,
It's supposed to
right
yield
through.
the right of way, and they just. But
Go through it. But I'm actually, at first I was a little skeptical about the whole roundabout thing,
Sure.
but now I think it's great.
Oh,
I think
I do
the way
too.
the flow of the
Yeah,
traffic
I
and,
do
and
too.
moves, I think it just handles.
now we just got to improve everything that's around that circle.
Right, exactly. Now, you go through that circle at about 7 in the morning, and it looks like the fucking Walking Dead.
It looks like a bomb went
It
off.
looks like The
is
Walking Dead all day long.
Like, and how are the powers that be, like, accepting this? Like, how is this acceptable to the powers that be? Like, how is this a good thing?
It isn't.
It isn't, right,
I
exactly.
live in that neighborhood. I live
You
on
do?
Oneida Street, and it's my neighborhood. And I have part of a nice little house there that I remodeled during the shutdown. I'm very comfortable there, and I got to look at this. My office is on Varick Street. Places that are like in Cora hang out. I go to Habano's Cigars. So I'm passing this thing 5-6 times a day, and it's a disaster. At 7 o'clock in the morning, all the way till 10, 11, midnight, 2 a.m. And it's gotten to the point where we have to say, as a community, enough is enough. This is not acceptable. I mean, it's dilapidated. They're a nuisance, these properties. And let's face it, they're up to no good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, I don't know why anybody does anything about it, but maybe somebody like myself will run for something eventually and,
Really?
And do something, yeah.
You've been thinking about it?
About 75% there. I got a meeting tomorrow with some people, and
Really?
we'll see how far we go with it. Sure, absolutely. I'm in that ward. I'm in the 5th ward.
Uh-huh.
And
Who's the representative in the 5th ward?
Venice Irvin. He was appointed after
Delvin moved.
he had to resign,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
And is he paying attention to what's going on in the 5th ward?
I never met the man. I don't know. I've never gotten a letter from him. I don't see any online presence. I don't see anything going on.
Yeah. Crickets?
Crickets.
Mm-hmm.
So we're leaning in that direction. I don't have a definite answer for you right now, but I'm going to tell you, yeah, I am leaning in that direction.
The question I have is that church that's over there.
Sure.
And they allow people to shoot heroin, and it's supposed to be a safe place, and that's actually what's causing the Walking Dead down there on the square. Is there, like, some kind of government funding? Like, why is this acceptable?
I don't know where he gets his funding. I know he was trying to get government funding. And I know Tony sent the health department down there because he had a tent city in the back going
Right.
on.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't agree with.
Yeah.
You can't just let them camp.
They're
Well,
just
they were
camping back
camping.
there.
They were camping in the vestibule right there in the entrance to the church.
Okay. So why aren't they inside?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you on that.
I don't know why it's a thing. Can't they just clean it up? I mean, there's cops at Dunkin' Donuts all the time.
I'm going to tell you the day they did clean it up.
Yeah.
When parents were dropping off their kids to Munson Williams the first day of school.
And here's the thing.
Miraculously, everything was clean and tidy, and there's no litter, and there's flowers and trees everywhere. Parents dropped the kids off, and then all of a sudden we're back to
That goes
square
with
one.
all events in this area. Like anytime, I'm not knocking the Boilermaker, but anytime the Boilermaker gets ready to go, everything's nice and bold and clean and this and that, your thing. Anytime, like it's Hamilton College, Utica College, New Weekend, those New Weekends, everything looks good for a second. And then it doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
And I get it. You want to put your best foot forward. I get it. But why not do it all the time?
Oh, yeah, 365.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question I have, too, is, like, Munson's such a, like, it's kind of a prestigious school.
Oh, my
I
God,
mean,
yeah.
like, people come from all over. They're,
It's
like,
right
the
Sure.
most creative people
Absolutely.
in the Northeast go to Munson for schooling. You would think they would want to clean that whole section up. And the architecture's beautiful down there.
Architecture.
All those houses are
Phenomenal.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
And not only that, we have a museum there, not for nothing, that has a Georgia O'Keeffe. It's got a Jackson Pollock. It's got an Andy Warhol. It's got a Pablo Picasso. You name it. It's in there.
World-class museum.
Yeah. And it's amazing what's inside there. It really is.
Yeah.
And then a half a block up, it's
And it's called the Arts
Walking Dead.
District. Yeah. It's called the Arts District.
Right, not the drug addict district.
No, it is.
Right.
You know? So
It's a shame, man.
it is a shame. It really is.
And then the powers that be wanted to put that art space right next to the Stanley, where it's the only parking. You know, it's the only parking lot. And you got those guys who are like, oh, it was such a great idea. I think it would have been a perfect compliment. No, you're an idiot. The perfect compliment is it just doesn't happen.
I want to have a conversation with the person who thought that was a good idea from the get-go. Hey, I'm going to present this.
I'll tell you after the show.
All right.
I already know.
Yeah. I'm not going to say too many names.
I already know.
But it's so stupid. But they are going to put the art thing in the back. They're going to put it over there on Park Ave because there's this whole empty lot over there.
Yeah,
that's a good spot for it.
Yeah,
that's why they wanted to have the parking lot.
Hey, listen, I'm all pro art. I love art. I think it's great.
That's why they wanted to have the Stanley parking lot, though. They wanted to put it way on the other side, isn't it?
Exactly.
So stupid.
Yeah, there's that empty lot over on Park Ave there next to my friend's house.
Well, they can walk from back there. No, they're not going to walk. Listen, people in Utica don't walk, first of all.
And people from Utica don't ride bikes either. I hate to tell you.
We have your own lane now.
I'll say it again. The only ones that drive bikes in this town are the crack dealers. I've said it before. It's true. And who the hell in the right mind, if you are a bicyclist, and I've talked to bicyclists, people that ride bikes all the time.
They're not going to hell down there.
They're not going to Genesee Street to ride their bike.
Have a cup of coffee.
Put the bike lanes on other streets. You put it on other streets. No one's going to ride their bike down Genesee Street. They're not. I'm telling you, that's not going to happen.
Sunset Ave or like one of the other ones, or how about a cross street or something.
It would have been funny to watch yesterday with the ice, though. That would have been funny to watch.
Oh, I
don't want to see anybody get hurt.
I was in the area yesterday, and I came out of this meeting I was in, and I was like, oh, wow, it's ice. And nobody cared.
Yeah.
Everybody was just falling and slipping, and I was like, man.
Yeah, a lot of people took a tumble. I went out.
I stopped. I'm like, I'm going to stay here for a second.
I went out lunchtime. There was ambulances everywhere.
Yeah.
There was, so it was got pretty rough here yesterday.
Very rough.
And where I'm from, up north, originally in Messina, I could drive through 3 feet of snow. I won't screw around with freezing rain. I don't screw around with. I lived through the ice storm in '98, so.
The ice storm in '98.
Oh, it wiped out. It was like a hurricane came through and wiped out everything.
Where was this?
Up north.
Up north.
Yeah,
Oh.
we got about 6 inches to a foot of freezing rain. It knocked down every tree. It knocked down every pole line. People were without power for months up there.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
You're from Messina?
Grew up there, yeah, but my father was from East Utica.
Okay.
My father grew up in N.D. Peters, Adrian Terrace.
Oh, yeah.
Born in '44. And in 1970, he managed the Rialto Theater over on Nichols Street. Okay? And that was a big deal back then. So anyway, they transferred him to run the theater up in Messina. And right there is right on the St. Lawrence River. On the other side is Cornwall, Ontario, where my mother was from.
Yeah.
And back then it was 21 to drink in Ontario, 18 in New York State. So the girls would come over to drink at the bars in Messina, and that's where my father met my mother, and the rest is history.
Didn't Canada used to be 18 at one point to drink?
Back like in the 60s and 70s, it was reversed. It was 21 backwards in Ontario, 18 in New York, and then it flipped in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
It flipped. Now it's 19 in Ontario, 18 in Quebec, and 21 in New York.
Cornwall's an interesting town.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've talked about there.
We've talked about it many times.
Freddie's nightclub. I mean, we used to do. I mean, we were 16 years old, chalking our IDs, getting over the border. By then, that was pre 9/11.
Yeah.
So the border patrol didn't care.
They didn't care.
They used to be able to hop back and forth.
Just if you got a DD, which we always did, they didn't care. They knew what the hell we were doing. And so we didn't have to worry about that. Now we had to get past the bouncer at the club. And they figured out that we used to put contact paper over that. So the 1975, we changed the 5 to a 3, and then put contact paper over it. So when the bouncer looked at it, he wouldn't rub it. And most of the time we got in. Or they didn't care.
They didn't care back then. You were dollar signs to them.
Sure. And especially for bringing American money over.
Right.
I mean, it was the American dollar was stronger than Canadian.
What's the exchange rate now?
Oh, it's back to when I'm not sure what it is, but I know our dollar is much stronger than the Canadian dollar. The one goddamn time it wasn't was in 2011 when my mother died. And she was in Cornwall. And that's the one time the Canadian dollar was stronger. And $20,000 funeral ended up costing like $30,000 because
man.
of it.
Wow.
Yeah. Had her cremated, brought back. She's buried in Calvary Cemetery, and did it on a Saturday. And I can remember the cost of it went up like $1,000.
Because it was on a weekend.
Yeah, to dig a hole to put an urn in.
When you were a kid, would you come to Utica often?
Oh my God! It was my second home. My grandmother was from here.
Yeah.
My great grandfather emigrated from Bari, Italy. Came to Utica in the turn of the century. So my whole family's from here. I mean, my uncle that I work for is here. Obviously, my father's youngest sibling, my Aunt Leona, she's up on Higbee Hills. So they've lived here their entire life. Yeah. So we moved down here permanently. My parents retired. We came down here 2 weeks after 9/11, and been here ever since.
Our conversations we've had in the past,
Sure.
I know how passionate you are about this area.
Sure.
So if you got somebody coming from Messina or something,
Sure.
where are you taking them out? Where are you bringing these people?
Well,
if you want to give them the full Utica experience.
Yeah, well, I have a buddy. I was just from Messina. He works for the New York Power Authority. He comes down often. He likes to go to Ancora. Of course, Joey's 307. Went to Tavolo last night. I love Sal. Ventura's. You know, and that's pretty much it. You know, I like, it's no secret. I like to shop at a pub in my neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You like that shop? I like that. That's a better word.
Are you bringing them to any food trucks?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it shows up once in a while.
I'm not saying that because
Depends on what I got going on.
I'm not saying it because he's a good friend of mine. I mean, his tacos are out of this world.
They are.
They're out of this world.
Yep.
And you go to these events where there's like 10 other food trucks. He'll have a line up out to the.
Well, that's because I take so long. That's what people say.
Well, I don't think it take long.
Hey, they want
I
a good,
think people legitimately want your cuisine.
a good product's going to take a minute.
I mean, you even had a long line when you just had the other truck too,
Yeah,
right from the
true,
grind, all
true.
that.
Yeah, you got 2 trucks now, right?
Yeah.
It's cheaper. I'm not knocking any of the guys in the restaurants.
Excuse me.
Listen, I came from restaurants. I get it. I know what it is. I still want a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but guess what? It costs less money to run 2 food trucks than it is to cost operating a restaurant.
Yeah, brick and mortar.
I mean, listen, I go out to eat. I don't cook at home. I go out to eat, but it's just at the time, it was cheaper. And then March 2020 happened, and guess what? I didn't have to shut down. And that was a godsend.
Yeah.
I was only a year into it at that point.
And here you are, brother. What I love what you guys do too, especially with Break from the Grind, is everything's like
Local.
regional and local.
Well,
yeah.
about 80 to 85%
New York State, we'll
of
say,
it
yeah.
inside New York State at least, And if I have shrimp on that truck, obviously we're not getting that on the coast of New York State.
Yeah.
But I buy from a local distributor for the shrimp, so it's still local in a sense. It's just it is what it is.
Yeah.
I would love to live on the coast.
Plus, you just bought some cows and pigs.
Oh, yeah, I
too,
just
so-
bought, I don't know, like 11 cows and like 9 pigs.
Smart, man. That's smart, for sure.
So-
We get it ready for the summer.
Yeah.
He's got that contraption from No Country for Old Men to go out and take care of them. So.
The bolt.
What a great movie that was.
Just walk around.
I want to back up, though, and talk about, you said maybe you might run for council or something
might.
like that. Yeah. Do you have like a political background, or it just,
Well,
or
you know
just
what?
something you're passionate about?
My BA is is in politics from SUNY Potsdam, but
The Potsdam good?
well, yeah. But when I did that degree, I never wanted to run for anything. I wanted to be somebody that like worked for the congressman. I wanted to work for like a firm that did research and all that, policy research. At that time, back in the 90s, well, he still is, Zogby. I thought he was a god with his polling and all that. All that stuff fascinated me. I wanted to do that. I had no intention of ever running for any office whatsoever. Maybe help on a campaign here and there. But I said, Jesus, you complain, you could bitch, you could moan, it just falls on deaf ears, man.
Oh yeah.
It just falls on deaf ears. And you know what? If they're not going to do it, then maybe a dumb son of a bitch like me will.
Mm-hmm. You know? Have you ever worked on a campaign before?
Oh, of course, sure. Yeah.
You've done a few?
Yeah, done a few.
And what about some of the surveys and research?
It's been a while since I got into that. I'm more of a numbers guy now. I'm a numbers guy for our company, and I enjoy that. I enjoy going into my office, being left alone, and working on my thing. And I could hear you guys down in the gym, but that's like white noise to me. Mm-hmm. That's like a good noise to me. The phone ringing is not a good noise to me. I don't like, but I haven't really dabbed my toe in it for some time. I was always busy working, and I was in the bar business for a long time around here, and I just decided, a few years ago, started working for my uncle, gave all that up, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are. You ready? You think you're ready to handle some of the complaints of the citizens of Utica?
Well, I probably would get that. Well, I know. Well, you know what? I try not to bitch, but I get it. I get what they're saying.
Yeah.
I get what they're saying. I mean, you take a look at this city. It's got a 30% poverty rate.
Yeah.
A 30% poverty rate.
Yeah.
Of 64,000 people. So you're telling me
we're not even that big anymore.
You're telling me 1 in every 3 people doesn't have 2 nickels to rub together, and that's just the ones in poverty. We're not talking about the ones that are living paycheck to paycheck with little or no savings. If you take that national average and you apply it to a city our size, you're probably talking about 45%. So you got 75% of the people that A, are either in absolute poverty, or B, that are living paycheck to paycheck. That's a problem.
Oh, for sure.
Those numbers are abysmal.
Yep.
And I get that. Some of it is not in our control. A lot of it's national. A lot of it's the federal dollar, whatever. The economy, inflation. I get that. Some of that's out of our control, but some of it is in our control. And it's not being done. It is not being done. And if you keep catering to this behavior, or you say, somebody else will take care of it, nobody else is. Nobody's taking care of these things.
Right.
I live in that neighborhood, and my family, my close friends, they all say, well, get the hell out of there. I've had 3 shootings in my neighborhood the past month.
Yeah.
1 on Hobart, 1 on Walker, and 1 last week on Clinton and Oneida. I don't know. They don't bother our little houses. We have my house. We have the house next to me and the house on the other side. I don't know. It's a nice little strip of houses. We got a nice little thing going. I love my backyard. I remodeled my place during the shutdown. I like what I did here. I don't feel that I should have to move. They should move. Why the hell should I have to put up with that?
Or be put in jail.
Yeah.
But they'll get right back out because of the stupid bail reform.
Yeah. But, maybe you see some movement on that.
What was the statistic I saw the other day that if one more homicide in Utica, it's going to match the total from last year?
It's going to match, yeah.
And we're not even through a full month of 2023 yet.
No, it's not.
And you're not even. I mean, the weather is unseasonable warm right now, but I mean, you're talking about, going into the warmer months where people are out and doing things now. And I mean, if that's going to be the pattern that we're going down, this is going to be an awful bad year. Mm-hmm. And I hope and pray it doesn't. But
what do you think the common denominator is with all these homicides?
Is it Oneida Square, or is it?
It's gang related.
Yeah, but why Oneida Street, Oneida Square? Why? I don't understand. That's where I'm getting at. Why?
It's kind of everywhere, though.
But I guess
kind of everywhere. It's kind of everywhere, but I mean, the whole country is experiencing these problems too.
That's true.
But
That's
I mean.
True.
Not to mention Messina again. I mean, when I grew up there in the 80s and 90s, this was a beautiful middle-class town. My neighborhoods was beautiful. All the houses were taken care of. The lawns were manicured. Everybody looked out for everybody. And now you go up there, and it's like a bomb went off. I mean, the plants closed, and then poverty and crime and drugs came in, and now that town looks terrible up there. And I hate to say that because, I have friends and people that are still up there, and, I certainly don't want to discourage them, but if you look at a picture from the '80s of the house that I grew up in versus now, I mean, it was pristine. My father put thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into that
What was
house.
the industry up there?
It was Zalocha. There was General Motors. There was Reynolds Metals.
And then all that started to shut down, shut down.
Yeah, I mean,
economic. You have to have an economic driver.
Yeah.
I mean, in Utica, you got all the economic drivers for arts and entertainment and sports.
Sure.
It's all right there.
Yeah. And thank God we have that.
And health too.
But the
And
healthcare.
The health industry is really big in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's unfortunate that they're having a hard time finding nurses too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, every area's got to have an economic driver to
Sure.
it. You know, one thing we talked about earlier, people in Utica don't like to change. Yes, for years
they
it was a
don't.
factory town, or it was a textile town, or it was whatever you wanted to call it at the time. But now we have an economic driver, and I see so many people going, "Oh, why do this? Why do that? Why not?" If the numbers, a guy like him who knows these numbers, you give him a report, he's like, "Yeah, we can't do this," or "Oh, yeah, we can do this," or "How about we do it this way?" That's what you needed on the Common Council.
What's the biggest change you would bring to the table if you did get on the Common Council?
I want to clean up Oneida Square.
That's number one.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's number one for me. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a right.
How do you do that? Like, what's your first step of trying to clean up Oneida Square?
Well, you know what? I would sit down, and I would say, I'd look at these properties that are down there. Who owns these things? Who owns them? And why is this behavior happening? I mean, you allow people to loiter here, or what the hell are you doing in your store to begin with? What's going on in here? I mean, it seems like everybody's got rights to do bad things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's that whole bail reform bullshit.
Yeah.
Because now people feel like they're
seems like-
indestructible.
Yeah, you have the right to do a bad thing. Well, what about my right to do a good thing? Why can't I live in peace in my neighborhood? Why do I have to come out every time and see this? And again, people are going to say, "Oh, Mike, just leave," and "Mike, just move somewhere else." But why the hell should I have to? In my brain, that's what I'm thinking. Why should I have to move? Why don't we make life difficult for these people that are making life difficult for everybody else around here? And I don't know, But, the loitering, I mean, there's got to be something that we could do about this. I mean, I know the cops' hands are tied because of whatever, but, I'd be a little bit more tough and more firm about moving these people out, and, hopefully these buildings will sell. Hopefully we could find some private investors in development to come in here and clean it up. It only took Rudy Giuliani. If you remember, we're old enough to remember, Rudy Giuliani, when he came in as mayor, I know he's off the wall now, but
He belongs in a loony bin right now.
but back when he
went for the dollar instead.
But back when he had his sanity and he became mayor of New York City, Times Square was a cesspool.
Yeah, it was. It's all
You
peep
remember
shows,
that?
disgusting
Peep shows and all
drug
that.
addicts. Yeah.
He just got them all the hell out of there, and he called Michael Eisner, who at that time was the CEO of Disney, and said, "Why don't you invest in your new show that just came out, Beauty and the Beast? Why don't you invest it and put it in Oneida Square?" And then it was just like all the dominoes started.
You mean
to fall.
Broadway, not Oneida Square?
Or, yeah.
I wish Beauty and the Beast was on Oneida Square.
Yeah, or
Well, they
Times
kinda
Square.
are.
Times
They
Square,
kinda
right? Times Square, Broadway, all that.
Yeah. So anyway, just the cookie started to crumble, and then now Times Square's it's a tourist trap now.
It
but,
is.
Yeah.
But it brings
But-
how many dollars
Sure.
to that area?
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it's not like back in the day, going down to New York City back in the day as a kid, you felt...
You were scared.
Yeah, you're very scared. You
And we
felt
were going-
unsafe.
And we were going down there when the Yankees sucked. They
Yeah,
were terrible.
same. Same. At least we got to see Don Mattingly, though.
Yes.
At least we got to
Yeah.
see Mattingly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great point too. If somehow we can get some kind of big corporation down towards there.
Sure, if you
get rid
do
of
that,
some of
it's
those-
amazing how much just one little thing like that will change that whole scenario down there, too. And, there's some legit businesses down there that are doing,
Oh, great.
Yeah, pick on this one and leave this one alone. But at the same time, it's amazing if you just get one thing to invest down there and develop and buy something down there. It's amazing how you'll watch that thing start to grow.
That whole Park Ave side of Oneida Square. You know what I'm talking about? You can go around the roundabout to go up a 9th Street. That whole side. Listen, those buildings. Who owns those buildings? It's bodega, shuttered. Bodega, shuttered. Bodega, shuttered. And it's just garbage.
Yeah. And there's some great restaurants down there. Shout out to my boy Tony at Palermo's.
Palermo's
I
has been
feel
there
so
for
big.
years.
And his family has been a business owner. His
For
family's been in
years.
years and years. His family has
long
owned
as I can
pizzerias.
remember.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how the hell he does it. I don't know. Surrounded by.
And he's such a good guy.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
is such a solid
What-
dude. And
what
they got
you and
Mikasa down there as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
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 And that's a
restaurant.
beautiful building right there.
Yeah.
That Redstone. That is.
So it's just. I think you got to look at everything, what's going on, and you got to follow the codes and the letter of the law and everything. You got to do it, and then my personal opinion, I don't know if it's his or yours or whatever, but instead of asking for grants to do everything, find the people that have the money that want to spend on the building, then let them do the building first, and then give them some money, if that's how it works. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of money out there right now, especially after COVID and all that. There is a shit ton of money out there. So they can start to restore these streets a little bit.
They can, but it's just it's going to other areas that probably shouldn't go to at the moment. Expand off of downtown, and I know downtown's close to your heart, it's close to my heart, it's close to all of ours.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, Oneida Square is right there. So if that starts getting really bad, then so does downtown because it overflows.
Right. And people are scared to go downtown. I have friends of mine that live in Whitesboro. They're like, I won't go to the city because I'm scared to go to the city.
I got them too. I mean, yeah.
Seriously?
It's just like, they're right in some respects, but at the same time, coming to my neighborhood, I get it. You don't want to come over for a coffee or a beer or anything. I get it.
Yeah.
But.
Right, because you feel like you're taking your life into your own hands.
It's amazing, though. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not against progress. I mean, we have made. Who's against progress?
Yeah, right.
I'm just for smart progress. That's all.
I will say, in all the years I've lived in this city, this is the most progress I've ever seen in Utica.
Oh, my God,
ever. Go back to when Ed Hanna was mayor and he did that national segment on CBS or whatever.
I remember that. That's on YouTube.
And it's on YouTube.
They had to bleep them out like 100 times.
They did, the freaking lunatic. I've talked about this a lot on this podcast. Yeah. But if you look back, and I think it was like 98 or 99 when they did that segment, and you look at all those buildings, and all those buildings now currently have been restored.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's actually, they're thriving now.
He was selling them for $1. Right?
He was selling them for $1. Yeah.
And he was yelling, screaming at people to pick up the cigarette butts and all that.
He didn't even care if you had any money to back it. He'd still sell it to you for $1 just to get it off or on the tax roll.
Right.
So do you think he was actually the man who actually laid the groundwork for all this that's happening now?
That's an argument.
No.
I think some of his ideas have been implemented in what's going on currently.
Yeah.
I do think the guy was a kook, but he really did love this city, and he kept it clean.
Yeah.
He did.
He did. He kept it clean.
But then he would do stupid things like make the largest watering can.
Yeah.
And now that sits where at the zoo, I think now.
it is.
And he would do some weird shit like that.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that,
naming shit after Bob Hope.
I'm just reading my mind, bro.
Sorry.
They think the Bob Hope Tower, but they had Bob Hope come to town that day.
Oh, they did.
In the 70s, they named it after him, and that whole clock tower or whatever is named after. It's called the Hope Tower, and they named it after him.
When he came, huh?
He was just.
I think it was in the 70s, early 70s.
He was just He was just a fanboy. Ed Hanna was just a fanboy.
He probably was. He probably was. But Ed Hanna used to do some cool things in Hanna Park. He'd have some live entertainment in the park and do the salt potatoes and the corn and the hot dogs. Like he did some really, really cool activities for the kids and for the families.
He owned a villa or something in France or something in Paris.
Did he?
Something like that. Yeah, if you watch that thing on CBS. What was it? 60 Minutes.
I think it might have been 60 Minutes.
60 Minutes or one of those shows.
Yeah, it might have been 60 Minutes. And he had some powerful connections, man. To get CBS here back in the day.
Sure.
And Utica was a shithole. I mean, it was, man.
Yeah.
And, I bring this up to some of the kids that I was arguing with on the internet. I'm like, you guys don't know what it was like to live here in the 80s and 90s. And they're like, oh, I don't care what it was like. Well, you should, because we were living in it. We know what a shithole is.
Yeah.
And to see the progress that it has become nowadays, like, there's nothing but progress. And they don't see that. The kids trying to make a name for themselves out there don't see that.
Sure.
They weren't living in the 80s and 90s and didn't see what we had to go through. You know?
Yeah,
This place was a shithole back
I'm
in the
not
day.
being a Debbie Downer when I bring out these numbers and I bring up stuff that needs area of improvement. I'm not taking away from all the progress that has happened, which has been a lot. And thank God we had that. If we did not, but this is just stuff that's been neglected.
Back in the day, there was a bumper sticker going around, and it said, "The last one out of Utica, please turn off the lights." Like that was the mentality going on in the city back then. And people they couldn't, when I graduated, everybody wanted to get the hell out of Utica as quick as possible.
Sure.
Nowadays, you got these kids graduating high school. They're probably scared to leave their parents because that's the generation. They're too scared of. They're scared of everything.
I call it the Snapchat generation.
The Snapchat generation. That's exactly what it is. TikTok generation. Snapchat. But nowadays they're staying in town. And
I noticed
these millennials are making businesses and doing cool things in the area, and more power to them. We want to see that.
Yes, absolutely. You don't want to discourage that.
But back in the day, they couldn't wait to get out of here. Everybody couldn't wait to get out of here.
Couldn't wait to leave. I remember I couldn't wait to leave.
And not to again pick on my hometown that I grew up in, but people that complain about Utica, go above the thruway. There's absolutely nothing up there.
Or go to Rome. Seriously, I used to say that. Hey, you want to feel bad about being from Utica? Just go to Rome.
Go to Rome Walmart. Go to Rome Walmart.
You
make
think
your life feel better.
how vast upstate New York is? I mean, if you go up north, you have Potsdam, SUNY Potsdam, SUNY Canton, St. Lawrence, Clarkson. You have Fort Drum, and then you have Lake Placid, and that's it. On SUNY Plattsburgh, and that's it. There's no industry up there whatsoever.
And there used to be.
And there used to be.
Well, it was logging industry, and it was everything on the St. Lawrence, because it was on the St. Lawrence.
Sure.
So you had all the General Motors and what was the other one? Alcoa and all that, because you had the waterway to transfer stuff in and out.
Yeah, well, and there's no major highway that goes up to there. Other than the Northway, there's no major highway that goes up there. But the Northway is more on the other side. It's more from Albany to Plattsburgh.
Yeah, into Montreal.
But you don't have anything that goes from Utica. I mean, you got Route 81 and all that. But other than that, I mean, you don't. If I wanted to leave Utica to go to Messina, that's a 3.5-hour ride, and that's a hard 3.5-hour ride.
You take 8?
I take 12, 26 to 37.
Yeah, in the wintertime, that's not a fun ride.
It's not fun in the summer either.
In the summertime, it's cool.
I mean, it could be a little bit.
Yeah,
but
in the fall, it's beautiful.
To me, when I'm on the road, I'm 2 hours in. I just want to get there. You know what I mean? But because I know this is all I'm going to experience.
Well, that's because there's nothing for miles too.
It is.
There's literally nothing.
I mean, there's a lot of farms and all that, but in terms of like anybody wanting like for example, what you do at the Stanley, I mean, they're not going to get that up there.
No, they're not.
They're not going to get that. They're not going to get our cuisine. They're not going to get whatever. When we'd come down and visit, my father, we'd get like 40 loaves of Napoli bread. And he bought this, those, what do you call it, those freezers where the top opens up the box.
Yeah.
And he'd put all the bread in there.
Freeze them all.
Freeze them all.
Because all you were getting up there was Wonder Bread.
Yeah, Wonder Bread and Twinkies and SpaghettiOs. Open a can and serve.
Bread.
Back in the day, Mike, up there was a great hot spot for a lot of live music, though.
Sure.
Not on a national level, as far as like a regional level goes, because there was like the Java Barn in Canton. I don't know if that's still there or not.
Oh, no, that's probably all wiped out.
That's probably all wiped out. And then Potsdam used to have that Potsdam Good Festival.
That was good, yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
At least things were happening in these college towns.
There was.
Outside of that, there wasn't anything happening, Potsdam was a lot of fun.
How close were you? Like, remember when the guys escaped? How far were you from Dannemora?
You see, people when you get up into that area, everybody thinks everything's close to each other, but it's not.
It's miles.
It's miles. That's like 2.5 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was in, I think, Constable, whatever. One of those.
Constableville?
Yeah, it's Constableville. I can't even say it.
I know there's Adirondacks.
Yeah, it's large, man.
But it's very vast, and that's just the northern part. I mean, you got to go into the Finger Lakes area, the southern tier, the Hudson Valley. I mean, this is a huge state, man.
It really is, and it's gorgeous. People
is.
don't understand, like, being out on the road or whatever. They're like, "Oh, you're from New York?"
Yeah.
They think we're from Manhattan or Brooklyn. I'm like, there's a whole nother section of New York.
I honestly don't even correct them anymore.
I've
heard it so many times. I'm like, I'm from Utica. They're like, "Where's that?" I'm like, "North."
But the problems that we're having, every other upstate New York City and town's having them too. Mm-hmm. I mean. But there's glimmers of hope. I mean, I'm told Troy. I got to go to Troy one of these days. I've told that place is just totally revived.
It has.
It's transformed.
It has a lot.
Yeah, I got to check that out.
Especially along that riverway.
Yeah.
And it's like a really cool entertainment industry district over there. Yeah. In fact, people from Utica that are part of this planning here in Utica, the project planners should go take a trip to Rochester, Troy. There's been some really cool development going on.
Well, see, they got to go out there and just hang out. Don't go out there as like a tour or a committee, whatever. Just go out one day, like as a group.
And go hang for a couple days.
Go hang for a couple days. Get a hotel room, go to dinner, go out to have some, head to a show. I mean, I've done it. I've gone to Saratoga, and you know what? Hung out, went to a concert, stayed over, ate the next day, drove to see the Foo Fighters, which was a disaster, but it was still a good show. It was a disaster, though.
But aren't you happy that show happened?
Yes.
Yeah. Because with the whole Taylor Hawkins thing.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Yeah, we went that night.
Yes. Yeah. But, we went to see the Black Crowes in Saratoga the night before. Wasn't well attended. Probably 9,000 still, whatever. And it was still kind of COVID-y, whatever. Had a great show. Great show watching those guys on stage play together. And then we're like, okay, stay out, have a couple drinks, stay out, whatever. And then we went to Syracuse the next night, and it was perfect. If there was a spot we could do that, say, I don't know, at Stanley in Utica.
The thing with Saratoga is a whole nother animal. Because Saratoga has so much money in that town.
Oh, my God.
It has been for
Oh, yeah. You're never going to be able to.
I understand
the
that.
mobsters used to come up there and go gambling on the horses back in the early 20s,
I understand that, but why, when on the Thruway, Albany, Troy, is like, I don't even know how to explain it. They've done so well there. Utica is, we got to get people off the Thruway.
As far as a state standpoint goes, I always feel like Utica gets passed over, though.
A lot.
Oh, it always has.
It always has.
It always has.
And I'm like, what do we do to actually draw the attention?
Draw the attention in.
Yeah. What do we do?
From what I understand, Utica was supposed to be what Syracuse is now.
Oh, for sure.
But a certain somebody who had a lot of power back in the day said, no, they didn't want all the traffic coming into Utica.
Well, because we were Sin City back then.
I know.
It's because we had all the brothels going on and the gambling and the mobsters and all that.
So why wouldn't you want more traffic?
Secrets and lies. Secrets and lies.
Yeah. But 81 was supposed to come down to Utica.
It's true.
We were supposed to have that happen, but that didn't happen.
But,
Wonderful.
Well, hopefully there is some change coming, and again, there has been a lot of progress in this town. There really has.
And this is,
I'm mad at you, by the way.
absolutely.
Sorry, I just thought this. I'm mad at you.
Why?
You told me Tampa Bay was a lock at 3.
I did, but the Giants won. I know Tom Brady didn't even show up the other day. But the Giants won, though. That was my lock. I told you my 5-star lock was the Giants.
I'm like, I saw you the other day.
Why, did you bet it?
No. But I was watching the game, though, because I'm like, Tampa Bay's a lock at 3.
I thought so, too.
Do you think he's done? You think Brady's done? Nobody knows.
I think so.
Yeah, you think so?
I think
His head's screwed up. He's going through a divorce. He's screwed up.
Yeah.
Over football, really? I mean,
dude, would take the job with Fox and make $30 million a year.
Well, you know what? If you want to call him the GOAT, maybe he is the GOAT.
He is.
But it's sad to see him go out on a low note. I mean, to see somebody like Derek Jeter go out on a high note. You know what I mean? It's just.
It's apples and oranges, though, with those two.
Yeah.
I mean, how many Super Bowls Tom Brady got? 7? right? Doesn't he have 7?
7. Jeter's got 5.
Yeah, Brady's got 7 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
You will never ever see anything like
No,
that
you
again.
won't. No.
He's got 36 playoff wins.
Yeah.
I
The
certainly,
Dallas Cowboys have 37 playoff wins. So he's got 1 less than the whole team of the
whole team.
Cowboys. You know, I mean, what a statistic that is.
That's good bragging rights.
It is. It is. But you got some predictions for the Super Bowl?
I think it all runs through Cincinnati.
Really?
I think, Jesus, I hope Buffalo. I'm so tired of being disappointed watching 4 Super Bowls in a row, lose them.
Is that your team, Buffalo?
Yeah.
Yeah. They look good, but Josh Allen's got to stop throwing interceptions.
I know. It's just, you know what?
He gets too erratic.
I try not. All my teams, nothing's worked for me since '09, since the last time the Yankees won the World Series. So I gave up. I'm a broken man.
But this is why
He's so sincere when he says that.
That's Mike, I want to get you on before baseball starts, and I want to have a whole podcast about the Yankees because there's some things that need to be changed over
Absolutely.
there.
Well, I think the entire philosophy needs to be changed. It's
live by the long ball, you're going to die by the long ball.
You're going to live by the long ball, die ball.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Don't get me started.
But this is what I'd like to see: Buffalo, San Francisco in the Super Bowl. I'm a Giant fan. I'd love to see the Giants there, but realistically, are they going to get past Philly this week? Probably not.
No,
probably not. But if they do, they got because right now the way the Giants are looking like the Giants from 2012.
Sure,
they really are. They had like kind of a mediocre year, squeak into the playoffs, and then make that big win. You know, them beating Minnesota was huge this week.
I mean, it's all about momentum,
and it's all about momentum.
The Niners have it right now. Like again, to bring up baseball in the postseason, there, you know, the Philadelphia made it to the World Series. The Phillies, they finished 3rd in the NL East. Now, under the old playoff format, they would have never been in the postseason, and here they are. But they just caught on fire at the right time. Same thing with the San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
So.
The Padres got a good young team.
They got a good young team, and Houston's not going anywhere, and Blue Jays aren't going anywhere.
I'll forever hate Houston Astros.
Oh,
I will. To me, they're the Red Sox. And
I think, you know what? I think
for what reason?
I think they're
cheating.
They cheat. They just constantly have our number.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
When I was at the game, went to a game at the stadium this summer against Houston, and Verlander was pitching, and I knew then we were in trouble. Yeah, he would have had a no-hitter against us, except Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run. But I almost witnessed my worst nightmare there.
They had a combined no-hitter against us this year.
Yeah, I know they did, yeah.
Right, earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Or last year, we should say. But
yeah.
Unbelievable. But the whole football thing is really starting to match up to. We're about to see some excellent games. The wild card, every game was.
I guess I got to start watching this.
Every game of the wild card was really, really good.
Other than the Monday game, I mean, all the games were very, very.
Look at Jacksonville. Jacksonville is down by 20 points, 21 points or whatever.
Came back to
win.
31-30.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is going to be the real deal, man.
This is all going to be fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and you can't count out Kansas City, man. And then the way Joe Burrows and those guys are great too. Like the AFC stacked.
Oh, my God.
They are stacked.
And
I wouldn't put it past them if whoever's coming out of the AFC is going to be your Super Bowl winner.
This is just going to be fascinating, just so awesome to watch. And then, I'll have chest pains watching it with Buffalo.
Of course. Though, if Buffalo wins the Super Bowl, I am going to that parade. I think all of upstate New York should shut down.
Shut
down all of upstate New York and everybody go to Buffalo.
And you know what? We deserve it.
Wow. Listen to what Buffalo's been through this year. The Wegman shooting, and then the snowstorm. How many people died in that snowstorm?
It's just they deserve it.
And DeMar Hamlin. Like all the shit that city has endured this year.
This year alone.
That alone right there should happen for them.
I hope they have that tattooed on their forehead that they're going to do this. But I mean, that city deserves it. This area deserves it. I mean, such a drought.
But for them to go to 4 Super Bowls in a row is an amazing feat. Nobody's ever going to do that again.
No.
Nobody's ever going to do that again.
There were 4 defeats as well.
Yeah, but still.
But still, you got to look at it like the fact that almost the same team. I mean, there was. I mean, I don't know the stat, but let's just call it the same team went 4 years in a row. They won enough to get there 4 years in a row.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, back then, players stayed on a team. They didn't jump around,
They
free
didn't jump
agency,
around
any of
or
that.
whatever.
They kept the core of that team together for years.
Yep.
And that last Super Bowl, they weren't even expected to get in there. They snuck into that championship game.
My father died in 07. His last words were Scott fucking Norwood.
I always said, because I love the Giants, and I do love Buffalo. I root for Buffalo, too. They're like my second team.
Yeah.
And I always said, if Scott Norwood hits that field goal, because we're, what, junior in high school back then?
Probably yeah.
Junior, sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Scott Norwood hits that field goal, I'm probably a Buffalo Bill fan over the Giants.
So you were 93, Proctor?
I didn't graduate in Proctor, but yes.
93.
Yeah.
I was 93, Messina, yeah. So we would have grew up with each other.
See, we've been in the same grade.
Yeah, we would have been in the same grade. We could have copied off each other's papers.
I would have copied off you.
No, I probably would have copied off you.
I don't know, bro. If you.
I was terrible in science.
I was terrible at showing up.
Oh.
So.
I had an old man that made sure I showed up.
You did?
Yeah.
I used to leave early. I'd
did
show
that
up.
too.
I would show up, but then I would just leave.
Dude, my grandmother was a lunch lady at Proctor. When I would ditch out, she would catch me. And
Oh, Jesus.
But not-
you had a built-in rat.
Yeah.
Everybody ratted you out. Up
No,
there.
she didn't rat me out. She'd just get your ass in this car. She'd bring me home.
Blackmail you.
she would help me out a lot. She would help me out a
Yeah, a
lot.
bunch of rats. It's just like Joe Pesci and Goodfellas. Once he kills Spider, his whole family's a bunch of rats.
He would have grew up to be a rat. His whole family's a fucking rat. I knew this podcast was going to go all over the place. I just knew
I
it.
liked it. That's what I said when we said we're going to. Well, you told me not to use the I word. I'm not using the I word.
The I word.
Interview.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you ever say that. So I got that word out of my vocabulary.
But we saw each other at Encore the other night. He's like, I'm really looking forward to our interview. And I'm like, don't say that.
Yeah.
It's a conversation.
Conversation.
I'm
So
not
people have been asking me, what are you going to talk about? I says, we're just going to sit down and talk shit. That's what we're going to do.
I was just coming here for support.
And you've talked a lot of shit.
I'm not running for an office, so I don't give a shit.
Well,
I'm
hopefully,
not there yet. I'm not there yet.
hopefully he is, man. And that's why I want to get you back. And we'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll get right into
I'm
it.
not ready to make.
I mean, I don't have any credibility.
I
here
still got
whatsoever,
some. I still got some hurdles to go through.
Yeah, you got to
And
get signatures and stuff too,
Well,
right?
we'll get to that point. But I got a hurdle to go through tomorrow night. I got a meeting. If I get over that hurdle, then I got to make a decision if I want to go through with this or not.
What's the map of the Fifth Ward?
Basically Cornhill.
Basically,
Yeah,
Cornell?
basically Cornhill.
I'm kind of curious if I'm in. Is this considered the Fifth Ward?
I think you're in Miola's.
I can't remember.
I don't. I'd have to pull a map out. That's
Okay.
more of a visual thing to me. I can't quote oh yeah, you're on Mohawk and where are we? Mohawk and
Well, James and Clemention.
James. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, Mohawk's a block up.
Yeah.
James, I'm thinking over here. James and Clemention. There's people out there that know right away what ward you're in. I'd have to look at a map.
Yeah.
Until
I
it
know
becomes-
the downtown area that encompasses a weird stretch of shit.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay, but now, what's considered the First Ward? Because isn't the First Ward part of downtown?
Downtown area that
It
goes up to like Oneida Square a little bit. Not all the way up to Oneida Square.
And then it heads
Yeah,
And then it
east.
goes down
East and west.
Bleecker. It goes down Bleecker Street almost to Mohawk.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, like that whole swath there.
Like Rucker Street, right?
Rucker Street.
Yeah. That's a weird shape. Yeah.
Pete at Zoom checking in. Hey, Pete, good to hear from you, man. Very entertaining conversation today. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete. And also,
He's
if you guys
such a great guy.
That's my dude.
I'm glad he found happiness in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And but sorry to see him go.
It's funny. We were talking about him last night, Pete. We were talking about you last night. Stephanie and I were driving past the old Dirty Little Monkey Bar.
Yeah, that was such a great little place.
He owned that place.
Oh, he did? That was before my time.
Oh, that was such a dive. That was the best dive. That was the dive bar when I was growing up.
Me too. So we were talking about, because back in the day, I lived on Oneida Street, just right up the street.
Well,
And what we would do is we would be out all night. and doing our thing. You know, this is the 90s. You know, we partied a lot in the 90s.
Is that the one right by that fast track?
Yeah, but it's kind of, there's a fence blocking that building now.
Okay.
And so Stephanie was like, hey, what was the name of that bar right there? I was like, Dirty Little Monkey Bar. My buddy Pete Mazzoon owned that place. But Pete used to get so pissed off at us because we would show up there at like quarter to 2, like at 1:45, and we were young 22, 23-year-old kids on drugs. Yeah, like, we want drinks, you know? And he'd be just like huffing up. Like, he wanted to close, you know?
Well, being in the bar business as long as I was, I'm with Pete on that. I used to hate that too.
Well, then I opened the bar too, and
you get that. Yeah, they'd come in at 1:45.
I used to hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get hammered and spend their money elsewhere all night, and then they want to come and, you know.
Funny thing, though, Pete used to work down the street from the electric company, and when they would all come up, they would close Blue or Holly Rock early and come up to the EC and hang out. We would just hang out for hours at the EC afterwards, and I would always have that running through my mind, like, this guy used to stay open for us, I'll stay open for him too. So.
Oh, yeah.
Pete, I got a lot of love for you, brother.
Yes.
Thank you. And Nicole's saying hi to everybody. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Thanks for checking in. If everybody out there on Facebook land, you could do us a favor and click that share button. It'd be greatly appreciated. And hopefully Mike makes the announcement. We can use this platform as the announcement or something.
You're my guy. You are my guy.
You're my guy.
You have exclusivity with me, sir.
He's the new media. He's the new media.
You sir know how to talk shit. That's why I like you.
Yeah.
You can't use COD.
I do. That's for damn sure. But you know, I never like talking politics because
I don't either, because it's one of those subjects that turns people off.
It does.
And
it does.
You're going to get into arguments with people that you love, and I don't. But you know what? But you're right. I don't want to get into the national shit.
Yep.
I want to avoid that. Like the plague.
I think at a national level, like Republicans and Democrats are equivalent to the Bloods and Crips.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I do.
Obviously, I got to join one team in order to get on the ballot and all that. And get the signatures and have money behind you and all that. But, you know, I think we could raise a lot of money, too.
Oh, for sure. I think you'll do great, man.
We're going to try. We're going to try, you know.
I think a lot of it is, but I don't know if it's just a thing when you head to a certain level, you lose all common sense. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. If you're a politician, at some point you lose all common sense. And that's where you go wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, what pisses me off is they choose the party over the country or over your city.
Sure.
You know, it's all all agendas, and that needs to stop.
You get an extreme right, and you get an extreme left, and you know, unfortunately, that never solves the problem on anything.
Yes. Mike run for council. Pete's saying, and Nicole's agreeing he definitely should.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I got 2.
You got 2.
Well, I'm gonna have to move back to the city then, I guess.
Hey man, if I'm in the 5th ward, which I don't know if I am,
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll look at the map.
You got my support for sure.
Thank you, Anthony.
But I will tell you, Mike Galimi definitely 100% has my support.
Oh, absolutely,
too.
absolutely.
Pete's saying I should come out to Madison. Humphreys is playing there on their 25th anniversary. Yeah, definitely. I would love to come to Madison.
I hear it's a neat little town.
It's a college town.
Yeah, college town.
The Badgers.
The Badgers. So
and they look like they have a great time. They know how to party out.
Maybe they'll have a skip and a jump over there one of these days.
Maybe one of these days we should.
One of these days. There's a lot of these towns that I hear are really neat, like Savannah, Georgia. I hear is neat. I want to check that out one of these days too.
You ever been to Atlanta?
You know what? The airport. Never really stepped.
Worst airport ever.
I never really touched down there in terms of to go out and have a little debauchery, a little drink here and there. But I've heard.
I love Atlanta.
Yeah, I definitely got to start traveling more.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great, man. I'm glad we can finally do this.
Yeah, this has been great.
Please use the platform, and I am going to open up the platform to the politics, the local politics here, because I do have a couple friends out there that could use some support and maybe a little bit of boost, and hopefully my platform is that boost. So
you're the best, Z.
You're the best, man, and I appreciate all your support, man. You've been a big supporter. And the first day I met him, he was like, "Oh my God!"
The famous Z.
I never had that kind of a response.
The famous Z. I've always heard about you talking about Z.
The first day I met him, I got kicked out of the bar.
Tommy Powers was there there to broker it. Remember?
I do remember that. And,
Tommy Powers says, "Oh, you two don't know each other, two Utica legends." I go, "He's a legend."
I'm not a legend,
I just was
brother.
held behind a bar getting my ass harassed all the time.
Well, so was he.
Made a lot of money.
More or less, for sure. But no, that encounter was just it warmed my heart. It made me feel humble
Good.
about that because your reaction to meeting me was just like, really?
Yeah, the famous Z. Well, you figure that we never. I was always bartending while you were always working.
Where would you bartend at?
Well, I was at that place, and then I was at the Hotel Utica for many years. I mean,
Gotcha.
combine both. I mean, that's almost
20 years.
15 of my 16 of my 21 years here.
That place was like the very first gay bar in New York State or something?
I think it was
the longest running gay bar? Or?
Upstate New York, I think.
I think it was the longest running.
Is that what it was?
Okay. Yeah.
What's there now?
You know, a lady bought it, and she's remodeling it, and I took a little gander at it, like maybe 2 years ago. I couldn't believe how incredibly awesome it looks in the back, what she did with the back veranda part. So that's going to be nice. What she's going to do with it, I don't know. She's just taking her time getting it, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's going to be a bar again, a cafe. If she's going to serve beer and wine, that's the last I heard. I don't know. I don't want to say anything that's not, correct.
Yeah, gotcha. That's cool, though. That place is so legendary.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Made a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's what it was all about. Nothing else.
Darryl, before we get out of here, promote your food trucks.
Taco Cat Food Co. Tacos, gourmet tacos. I'm a taco guy. Listen, all these years in the city, it's starting to turn into, oh, I know you. You're the taco guy. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to lean into it.
Gotta. Hey, go with it, man, if that's what's working.
I'm just going to lean into it. Whatever. I sell tacos for a living. Great.
I'm having tacos tonight.
And then
you inspired me.
We started with Break from the Grind. We started with that, 5 years ago now? And everything on that was like as local as I could get. And you know what? Took what I knew from all the years that I did what I did. Everybody knew I cooked for a living. Mm-hmm. And just went on the road with it. Basically, that's what I did. You know, everyone's like, oh, it's a steak sandwich. I'm like, yeah, but eat the steak sandwich.
Like Meals on Wheels over here.
Eat my steak sandwich. And then you tell me, eat my taco. And then you tell me if you don't like the taco.
His meat is his own domain.
Hey, you got to lean into it. I'm hitting the road again, hopefully St. Patrick's Day weekend. You know what? I was out there last year, and the weather was not ideal, and I'm too old to do that again. Mm-hmm. So if it's okay out, I'll go out. But then I'll be out in the spring. Everybody will find me. Outside the Green Onion. I'm going to go outside the Stanley a couple times maybe. We'll talk about that.
You should do it around dance competition.
Dance competition time.
Yeah.
A lot of traffic for that.
I got a lot of stuff in like June, July, August, September. Listen, I'm everywhere across the state.
If anybody's interested in booking you for an event or a party or something, how they get in touch with you?
Taco Cat Food Co. On Instagram and Facebook. And what's my number? 315-725-3617.
Awesome.
And if you want to talk to Break from the Grind, you got to call Steve.
Malecki.
That's
our dude.
He's probably
right
not
there.
watching. He don't even know what the hell this is.
He's been on here before.
I know, a couple times.
He's on his boat on the lake.
He's on his boat on the lake.
He's traveling. He's in some random country right now.
Break from the Grind, BRAKE, like stop. Yeah, get it? His number is area code 607-342-1720, and it's local, guys. It's not Binghamton. It's whatever. Everybody's got a cell phone number nowadays. It's from across the country. You don't know anymore if it's from the 315 or not. Mm-hmm. You really don't. So I'm out there, man. You know how to get a hold of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when I get harassing phone calls later, they'll be from 516 area.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
What's the 516 area?
I don't know.
Or I don't know.
That joke was bad. I'm sorry.
Oh, all right.
Oh, it was a joke.
Baba Booey?
Yeah, Baba Boo. Wrong show.
Mike, you got anything to promote before we get out of here?
No. Just if I see you out, Say hi.
Say hi. Buy him a drink.
No, you don't even have to do that, please. I'm trying to cut down.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And dry January?
Damp.
Damp. Yeah,
A little damp.
I got it. Once a week. Once a week. That's about where I'm at.
It's about, I'm too old for it now.
Yeah, the recovery time takes a while.
Recovery time, especially on weeknights. I don't like going into work the next day knowing that I went out the last night and just feeling it. And fortunately, Father Time caught up. And
it goes by quick.
I just, can't do this anymore.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming today, man. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks for taking the time.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a real treat. Thank you.
And that whole gym thing you got going on, I want to promote Jamie Carney really quick because that dude has changed my life. And I love going over there.
He's such a great guy.
He
and
really
he's
is.
my personal bartender, too. So
is he?
It's green onion.
He is. He's taught me a lot and just keeping the whole mind, body, and spirit intact. And Jamie does a lot for me with all that.
We're glad that you like it, and it's a neat little spot.
It is.
We're not trying to compete with any big gym, obviously, or anyone else. We just got our little thing, our little corner of the Varick Street.
It's good little motivation for me, too, because when I'm sitting there hitting the heavy bag and I look over at my old bar and I'm like, I hit it a little bit harder. keep pretending the landlord's face is on that bag,
That was a bad deal.
It was such a bad deal.
That was a bad deal.
Anyways.
I'm sorry about that.
Hey, it's not your fault.
Hey, everything's got to end.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All good things come to an end. I'm very happy where I'm at.
Sure.
And speaking of which, Stanley Theater presents Sophistafunk and Friends Saturday, February 18th, featuring Mike Ganser from Aqueous, Sam Kinninger, Joe Driscoll, a whole bunch of others. It's going to be a great time. I encourage all of you to come and support the show. We want to do more stuff at the Stanley, and this right here is going to be one of those shows that is going to be a definite one you don't want to miss. So get your tickets at thestanleytheater.org, and you can call the box office at 315-724-4000. Shout out to EJA Moving Services, Joey's at 307, Utica Coffee, my attorney Dave Longaretta, Saranac Brewery, and Ballsy, ballwash.com. Use promo code members only. Get yourself some nut rub. Mike, I'm telling you, it's going to change your life, dude.
Some nut rub,
All right.
Mike.
It's going to change your life. I'm telling you.
Be no longer hearing, what's that smell?
Everybody, thanks for listening. Click that share button.
Thank you.
Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and have yourself a good day.
There's a camera right there. Now I could look into it.